Hello, my name's Donna and I'm your educator for today. I'll be showing you today how to make a curly, swirly designs with different types of gel. This training is absolutely ideal for beginners and it's nice because you can give it your own twist just by adding an extra glitter or a few stones or some foils, for example. You can make your own complete unique design. I will show you how to practice some of the strokes and then I'll take you step by step through the 5 designs. I hope you enjoy this training and have lots of fun. These are the items that you'll need to take part in this training. First of all, you will need something to practice on. For example, some practice tips or some colour pops or your own fingernails or the nails of a friend. But those are what you'll need. I'll just place them to one side. That's the way you can get started with. And then for a base of the design, we need some nice gel polish colours. I've chosen here some lovely colours which I would say are spring colours. I'll be doing 5 designs, so I've got 5 different colours. And as I said, in this training, I'll be using gel polish. But if you're making the designs on acrylics or on a gel and it's just a nude base or some other kind of a base, that's perfectly fine. But here I've got these colours for this training. Maybe you could choose similar colours or do them all the same colour. It's really up to you. That's really your choice. So 5 different colours. Of course, once you've got your base colours on, you will need to finish them off with some sort of a top coat. Here I've got a top coat which doesn't have a sticky layer to it. But for this training, it really doesn't matter if it is with a sticky layer or without. It doesn't matter because you can also just wipe away the sticky layer once your product is cured in the lamp. So that's your top coat for your gel polishes. What we also need are, because we're doing curly, twirly designs, we are using a white colour as a base for those designs. And you have got different types of gels which you can choose from. This one, for example, is called a paint on French gel. And it comes in this little pot. And let me just see. You can see that if I go into it with my tool and I pull it out, it's quite a thick consistency, this. So that's actually quite nice to paint with. At least I think it's nice to paint with. And the reason I say that is everyone has their own preference as to what they like to paint with. So that's one type, for example. And here I've got Colour Plus gel, which is also quite thick, as you can see, but not quite as thick as the paint on French gel. And the paint on French gel is extremely pigmented, so it's lovely and bright white. But I mean, you can use any colour gel, paint on gel from the brand that you're used to working with. And here I've got a gel polish, and it's just a standard white gel polish. And this is quite a lot thinner than the colour gels. And this is actually, if you paint with a gel polish that is quite a little bit runny, it's quite difficult to paint with. And the reason I've got it here is because sometimes it's nice to mix the white gel polish with a little bit of your white gel to make the consistency a little bit thinner. If you are somebody who likes to work with products a little bit thinner, then you can mix it to your own specifications. That's also possible. So I can show you during the training how to do that. The other things that we need are, of course, we want to decorate the curls and swirls. And we can decorate them with some nice glitter. Let me just bring it down. This glitter is a little bit, it's got bits of white and a little bit of silver. But what's important is that it's quite fine, so it's not too much of a bulky glitter. So we've got that. And this is this is what I use to scoop the glitter up with to put it onto the designs during the training. Just pop that there. And I've got here a spatula, which is very handy for scooping the gel out of the pots. You can just go in, scoop it out if necessary, and then place it down for working. And this spatula is actually the end of, of my brush for the acrylic gel. So that's handy. It's got a nice dual purpose there. Whoops, let's just pop the lid back onto this. Close it up. Just wipe this clean. And we have got here some white acrylic. I've chosen to use Mega White. It's extremely, extremely white, which is lovely for sugaring on top of the curls that we'll be making. This is just standard white acrylic. It's nice and fine. So we'll be using that as well. Here I've got some brushes. What you want to use are synthetic brushes. I'll just pop that away. These ones are synthetic, which is handy for working with gel, because it means that the gel won't actually soak in completely into the hairs. If it's natural hairs like, then they will soak in a bit more. Let's see. These are quite thin. They're quite thin, and sometimes they can differ in length. These are noughts and the naught, the sizes. And let's see, sometimes they're a bit thicker. Some are slightly thicker, some are slightly shorter than others. They're all different, and you can work with whichever ones you want to. They're all absolutely fine. And here I've got another brush, which is, the hairs on this one are slightly thicker than the other ones which I've just shown, which is actually quite useful for some of the for one of the designs where the curls are a bit thicker. We can use this brush. And then it's nice to decorate, of course, so we can decorate with some lovely little gemstones. And we've got a little wax pencil to pick them up with. Just pop them to the side. And then we've got the items which are just useful. I've got here, for example, a tile which we can mix gel on. So sometimes we want to change the consistency of the paint on French gel, for example, to make it a bit thinner. Then we can mix it on a tile. And we've got a few wipes, which are always very handy. The manicure brush, just to brush away the dust while working. And I've got here a bag of baby wipes. There you go. Some baby wipes can be handy because gel is a little bit sticky. And so to keep things clean, we can just wipe away with that. And here we've got some cleanser, or you could use some alcohol, anything really. It's just to keep the brushes clean, the gel brushes. I like to use the cleanser, which can also be used to wipe away the dispersion layer of your top coat once it's hardened out, if you're working with a top coat which has a sticky layer. Or otherwise you can use alcohol. It's just to get out the last little bits of the colour gel which can get caught in the bristles of your brushes. So those are the items that you'll need for the training. I'm going to give you some information about how to look after your products and also how to prepare your brushes. I'd just like to say that these brushes are actually natural hairs. It's a Kolinsky brush. These are natural hairs, not synthetic. So actually for doing these designs, you can use natural or synthetic. It really doesn't matter because I've actually been working with both. Now, I'll just show you how to prepare a new brush. When you receive a brush, often they've got a cover on them, so this we can just take off. This one's on pretty tight, so it's off now. And the bristles of the brush, let me see, I don't know, they're quite thin, but they're very hard. They've got some Arabian gum in them, which we don't actually want in the brush when we're working with it. So what's handy to do is just to wipe the bristles very gently between a nail wipe. And what I'm actually doing is I'm getting rid of the gum that is stuck between the bristles of the brush. Now you may wonder, why has it got this in it? Well, the reason is it's to keep the bristles in a nice point during transportation, so that you get a brush that, let me see, that keeps its shape, that looks nice. This one is actually, let me see if all the gum has gone. Sometimes you need to hold it under a bright light to check if it's all removed from your brush. Let's see. I think that this one is now free of the, yeah, it's now clean. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of my cleanser onto a wipe, just getting it out of its container. Let's see, we've got a bit of cleanser, and all we need to do now is just wipe this carefully and wipe it back into a nice point. That's all we want to do. This now is back in a nice point. And this is the way that we can store this brush. What I would do is, because you're working with gels, I would store the brush away in a dark area so that the gel doesn't harden out in the bristles of your brush. So you could, for example, store it in a nice box that you keep the rest of your brushes in, or you could just put it into your drawer and make sure that the ends of the bristles are free so that they don't get squashed against anything and they don't get bent. Sometimes for doing this kind of technique, we want to work with brushes which are even thinner, and what we can do is we can adjust the brush to the size we want it, and we do that by cutting the hairs. So I'm not actually going to do it on this brush because I do have some where I've already cut the bristles. But what you would do is you would take from each side a couple of hairs and just trim them off with a pair of little scissors. So you keep twisting your brush and picking a few hairs from the outer circle of the bristles and cut them away, and then you would end up making your brush a lot thinner. That's a very handy way of making your brush extremely thin. This one is new, as I said, and I've not cut the hairs, and I won't be cutting the hairs on this one. So that's that one. So that's how to how to clean your brush, how to look after them. And let me show something else. For example, sorry, I'm going to show you now how to clean your brush. So let me just get the things that we need. So here I've got a pot of red Colour Plus gel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually I'll use another different brush. Let me see. Yeah, I'll use this one. What we do is, if this brush has got some gel polish on it, some red, as you can see here, it's got on it red gel polish. So we might have been working on somebody's nails and the brush needs cleaning, there's two different ways in which you can clean this brush. So the first way is you can take a flexible top coat. So use your top coat from your gel polish. You can just place it. And what you can do is you can roll, you can bring your brush through the top coat, and you keep on doing it until all the red has gone from the bristles of your brush. I'll just get a little wipe and wipe it as I go along. You keep going until it's nice and clean. I've gotten rid of quite a lot of the red from there. And if you want to make sure it's absolutely clean, you just put down another dot of your top coat. And you go through it again, and when you can see there's no more red coming out, then it means that your brush is nice and clean. So that's that. Some people, you can see I roll this into a nice point. So we're not cleaning back and forth or messy, we just roll it into a nice point. Some people like to store the brush away like this in a dark place, and then it's ready for use again the next time. I myself prefer to keep my gel brush clean with the cleanser. So for example, when I have finished working with red, when I've finished working with my red, I like to get the cleanser on a wipe, and I like to twist it through until the brush is clean. I twist it into a nice point, and that's it, and then I store it away. It's really your own preference as to how you clean your gel brush. Some people say that it's not a good thing to have to use too much cleanser on a brush. I myself don't have any problems with it. Some of my brushes I've had for years and they're still fine. So it's just a personal preference, but I did want to show you both ways. Another thing is, if you have finished working with your gel polish, you've finished working with your gels, sometimes the pots can be a bit sticky, so you can take your baby wipes and you can just wipe all around the pots. If you don't want to use baby wipes, just use your wipe and use some alcohol. Oops, notes. And what you do is you can just wipe around the mouth of your pot. So let me just show this side, for example, here. You've got some bits of gel. You can just wipe around it with the baby wipe, and then it's nice and clean. For storage, store your gels in a dark place, not too warm and not too cold. It's preferable to have them in a room with a constant temperature. Somewhere around 21 degrees plus is fine. That's clean for storage. And let me see. And I think that's all that I needed to show you. And then I will see you in the next video where I will show you how to practice some of the strokes. So it's time to practice some shapes now. And what I'm going to use is this brush. The hairs are that long, as you can see. So it's not extremely short and it's also not extremely long. It's kind of medium length. The hairs on this one. And I've got here a black plastic surface. It's actually an old folder, which I'm going to use to practice on. You could also find this kind of a surface, or you could practice on some paper which is in a folder, in a see-through folder, so that you can practice on it and wipe away what you've practiced once you've finished. And first of all, I'm going to start with the paint on a French gel. So that's a bit thicker. So what we'll do is we're going to practice the first, I'm going to actually show you 5 shapes to practice. And the first one, let me just draw it here, is a leaf shape. So what we'll be doing is we'll be starting with a ball of gel. So we'll have a large ball, and then we're going to paint the line so that it curls just slightly, not majorly, but it goes from thick to thin. So we've got the ball and it goes from thick to thin. That's what we'll practice. So what we do is we place our gel, just for sake of ease, you can see what I'm working with. I'm going to put it right on this sheet right next to me, right on here. So we rest it there. And what we do is we've got our brush, and what we want to do is load the brush. So the brush is clean, and we want to load the brush by moving it around in the gel, back and forth. And what we've done is I've loaded the brush. I'm not trying to load it completely to the end of the bristles, because I don't want all of the gel to get caught in the bristles. Right up here. I'm trying to load it just about halfway or just over. And look, if you're doing this and the brush does get loaded completely to the end, it's not a drama. You just have to make sure that you clean your brush very, very well when you're finished. This brush is now loaded. What we need to do is we need to pick up a ball of the gel. So we go in and we pick up. So it's probably difficult. I don't know if it's possible to see, but there should be a ball of gel on the end there. So what we do to make the first shape is we press down on the surface. Let's see, make sure you can see. Yeah, press down. We make contact with the nail plate. Yes, the bristles are a little bit in the air, so we have contact with the ball. What we do now is we press slowly. We add pressure, go round slowly, add pressure, and now we want to point gently, bring your brush up into the air. So you have the ball, you add pressure, you go around and you continue the shape, but then you let your brush float up into the air. I'll do it again. You reload your brush, you pick up a little ball, make contact. We just do it, make sure you can see what I'm doing, that's it. We add pressure, we go around, come up into the air. This is quite a large leaf, shall we say. And what I'd done there was, while I was doing it, I used quite a long length of the bristles of the brush. Now I want to make a smaller shape, so I will just try to use the top tip. So this is what I mean. Look, I've loaded it, but say a quarter of the length, not like the full length. We've got a ball, it's still quite a large ball, but this time I'm going to try and make it half the size. So we make contact, I press lightly, but I already come up into the air now, into a point, okay? And we can do the same again. but I'll go in the other direction this time. We make contact. Oops, just need to make sure I'm not covering up everything, that's it. We press, I'm already lifting it up now, lift up, 1 minute, sorry. Lift up into the air to a point. There you go. In fact, I prefer a smaller point, but so you can go back just like I did. You go back. Try not to block the view for you. So that's the first shape. That's the first simple leaf shape. And what we can now do is we can add on to this. So that was the first shape. And what we can do now is for the second shape is sorry, I'm bringing it down a bit. Do what we've just done, but we're going to add, we're going to stretch it out a bit. So we're going to make it go in this direction like this. So we've got a kind of a nice swirly, leafy shape, shall we say? So we're going to do that now. Load the brush, pick up a ball of gel, got the gel, and now we do exactly what we've done here. So we add pressure, push down, swirl, lift up. And now we need to go into the top and stretch it. And I'm going to have to be careful that I don't block your view when I do this. Let me see. No, okay, that's okay. So I'm going to use the gel that's in this ball of gel here because it is enough. We don't need to reapply. I'm just going to, let's see, just going to press into it, add a bit of pressure, turn it around and now into points into the air. That's what we do. So we'll do it again. Load the brush. Make contact, press down, curl around, go up into the air. And then with that ball, I think I'm going to have to just turn slightly because otherwise I'm going to block the view and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to press, and up into the air. So we get a nice little twist on this leaf shape. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to call it an open leaf shape. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this shape again, so this one. So we're going to have it coming into a point, let's say like this. And then from this ball of gel, we're going to use some of this gel. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to add a small little bit more gel. And we're going to, let's see if I can draw this. It's going to come down on this side. So it's going to go round. So it'll be an open leaf shape like this. That's it. So that's what we're going to do now. Let's bring this back down here so I can actually reach it. I load the brush. Let's say we pick up a ball of the gel. That's it. And then do the first shape, but I'm going to draw it in the other direction now. So we're going to place the gel, push down, scoop up into the air. Sometimes you need to reapply a bit of gel here if you don't have enough, or sometimes it's enough. And it also depends how thick you want the ball at the end. What I'll do is I'll use what we've got for this one. So there's enough gel there to come in. What we do is we're going to come in. Let's see, we make contact. So we come in and we do another little curl and then gently lift the brush up into the air. Okay, so reload your brush. You've got your ball. Apply your ball, add pressure, curl, lift up, and then go into the ball, curl, lift up gently. What you can do if you want to sometimes is you can go into the end again of the ball and you can gently add a tiny little tail. That's sometimes nice, makes for a nice playful design. So I will show you the next thing, what we will be practicing, which is, oops, 1 minute, just get my paper. We're going to practice this, and I don't know what it's called. I'm going to call it the double curl. What we're going to do is the first shape, but I want it to actually be a bit of a semicircle. So what I mean is, if this is my center line, we've got the circle, and it's going to come around, let's see, like this, into the points. So this is your middle line. So you go full, the dot of gel comes into the points. And then we're going to add an extra little curly bit to the middle. So the middle is about here, say. So we can add a smaller dot. And that little dot is going to just join up to the rest. So it's going to have like a double curl to it. So that's what we're going to do now. Let's bring back our folder. Yes, let's see, that's it. Let's just move it up. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, reload the brush. Pick up a ball. Just make sure I've got enough. Yeah. Okay. So we do a circle, we add pressure. We push down, bring it up into the air. So it's a half a circle. Now we pick up a smaller ball. Load the brush. Pick up a little ball. Doesn't need to be too enormous. Smaller ball. And about halfway, as I drew on the paper, we add a tiny ball, make contact. We push down. And then we fly up into the air. You can see you've got a little extra effect here. Okay. So you can practice in the other direction. You've got your ball. Press down. Come around and up into the air. And then, let's see. Halfway. Let's check I'm not covering up anything. Halfway. Come down. Up into the air. It's always handy to practice your designs in both directions. Okay, so what we're going to do now is the last shape that I want to show you. For these kind of designs, there are so many shapes that you can practice, but this is really just going to get you started, these beginner shapes, and knowing these, you will actually be able to make so many beautiful designs. Okay, this one is a circle. So what we'll do for this one is, if we've got the center line again, we've got our ball of gel. It goes from thick to thin. And then, let me see, I'm going to cut this halfway. So it's gone thick to thin. And now what we're going to do is add another ball of gel here, a fresh ball, which goes, let me turn my paper around so I don't draw this too wrong. So this is a circle, so it's going to go from thick to thin here. Yep. And then what I want to do is, let's see, so is halfway here is where I want it to end. So I'm going to have another circle, just bring it around. So, and it's going to go, let me see, where am I? Yeah, it's going to go round like this, thick to thin, thick to thin. That's it. So we're going to have a nice swirl going on like this. So this is what we're going to do now. I think I'm going to have to add a bit more gel, because also, let's see, yeah, I need to make sure that I've got enough to work with. So just add it there. And we load our brush. And we have our first scoop. And what we do is we are going to do the first half a circle. So I'll just do it here, because then, oh no, over here. So what we do is we have contact with the nail plate, we push down, go around and up into the air. And now we're going to do the next ball. That was the halfway ball. Halfway ball. Sorry, what I mean is here we're going to place some gel and then go just halfway to there with this one. So we place gel here. Okay, and we press down and we go just halfway. And then it becomes thinner at the end. And for the last one, you don't need the ball as large. I'm going to turn the paper around. You can turn your customers' hands around. Your customers are quite mobile. So in the salon, you know, you can turn the customers, their hands, whichever way you need. This ball is going to be a little one. So we have a dot here. And we don't use the full length of the bristles here, just try to use the end bit. So just press a little bit and already come into the air now and fly away. So here we have another nice shape that you can use. And if you want to, you can just pick up a little bit more gel, and you can, for example, you can come halfway by the first one. You can add a little dot and you can push down, fly into the air. See? And if you really want to, you can do the same here. You can, oops, I've hardly got anything on the brush there. Let's see, that's it. You can push down, let's see, a little bit and then fly into the air just like that. A minute. Sometimes if you're not happy with it, just go back in, that's it, and touch up what you need to. So there we've got some strokes that you can practice. Just keep practicing this, or try it on some tips until you get the nice feeling of the movement in your fingers, and try doing them larger and then some smaller sizes, for example. Now I've finished with this, I get my cleanser and I just clean my brush. Sometimes when you're practicing or doing this kind of picking up of gel a lot, the brush can sometimes end up with the end getting a bit bent. And you can actually solve that by cleaning your brush and then resting it in some boiling water. So just boil the kettle, pop it in a cup, and then just place it into the boiling water, and you'll notice that the hairs will become straighter. So that's a way to revive your brush. If you're what you do is, what you can do is, let me see, if you've got a problem with your brush where the gel has got stuck in between all of the hairs, you can bring it back to life by using some acetone. You can place it in the acetone and that will bring your brush back to life. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is a few, I would say they call it the rules of what you can and can't do with these type of designs. I will show it to you in case you're interested in knowing a few guidelines, but I have to be honest, it's not something that I stick to, but I will show you anyway, because I think just be creative and have fun when you're doing nail art. But anyway, here's a few rules which might help you. For example, if this is your nail, let me just draw a nail. So, another one. Then, with these designs, it's probably not very nice to have the curls all going in the same direction. That probably won't make for a very pretty design, and it might be better to give it a bit of some kind of balance, for example, by doing this, for example, so that you've got them in a different direction. What we can do now is I will show you another way of doing this. Let me see, so that's one example. What you also can do is, I'm going to draw another nail, two nails in fact, and you can try to have some balance in your design. So for example, if this is a diagonal line across your nail, then let me see, if you've got a curl here and we've got another one there, then it's probably quite nice to say, let's say, to have balance, follow the middle line there. You could have at the top a sort of a curl going in that direction, and let me see, from the other side, you could have something coming in this direction. So it could give your pattern some balance. And another thing you could do is, if, for example, you're drawing some circles, let's have a look. Let's say it's larger circles that I showed you how to do in the practicing. You could then, for example, imagine that the circle's then coming around and becoming smaller. So what you could be doing is actually just continuing the design so that it's, oops. Sometimes it's nice to do that, to just imagine that the design is still continuing around. And another thing is, I will just show you this. So instead of having a design where you've got beginning of the design and the end, the pointy bit there, and you've got lots of random things going on, you could always try to, for example, have an area, say here, I'll call it the meeting point. So you could have some of your little curls and swirls joining up at the meeting point. And so here you could then decorate this area with something. You could put some gemstones there, or you could, I don't know, you could paint some kind of nail art that goes on top of it, a little flower, for example. So it kind of makes for a cohesive design. These are a few rules. And sorry, let me just show you this quickly. Same applies here. So if you have a center line with your pattern and you've got something like this going on, then it's probably pretty on the other side to do something like that. So these are a few guidelines. These guidelines I don't stick to myself. I just be creative and do what I like and what the customer likes, but it could help you in the beginning if you have difficulty in working out how to get some balance in your design. So those are the things I wanted to show you. Sometimes if you look on internet, you may well be able to find some practice sheets for curl and swirl designs. Have a look. But if you can't, then use the shapes that I've shown you and just practice with those and then just build on top of that. Hope you enjoyed this and have a good time practicing, and I will see you by the designs.